Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno New Origins, where we are currently working on this Explorer mission, which is a progression mission, and we're going to take a loss on this. That's okay. So we've got this craft right now, and this is slightly upgraded from what it was before. I'm wondering, what was the thrust to weight on this? Seems like we had ramped up the thrust to weight on it, but hadn't tested it. This is with the new type of solid rocket motors. The question is this going to require side boosters? Well, let's just put that out on the pad, and yes, we're going to take a loss on this mission. That is fully understood. We also had that fairing issue previously. I don't quite know what to make of that one, but let's just see how we're doing with achieving orbit for right now. So that'll be fine. Let's put this at a pitch of about... Actually, I kind of like the 45-degree marker. And that'll be fine for now. So we burn through this fuel fairly quickly, but the question is, what does this do for our trajectory, right? So let's just push this right on up. And we've burned about half of the fuel in our SRB for right now. SRBs are way cheaper than liquid fueled in this game, at least. So that is definitely noted. How's our heading? That's a kind of weird heading to be going on. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what to make of that heading. Maybe we lack gimbaling? I don't know. But I'm wondering what our apoapsis is here. It's currently about 70 kilometers is what it looks like this is going to wrap up as. Okay. So we were certainly experiencing shock diamonds very briefly there. That is understood. And we're able to gimbal this around. So that's fine. I do want to... This is a really weird heading for us to have been heading. I'm not sure why that happened, to be honest. I think it was lack of control. So I'm wondering if we... need more gyroscope on it, perhaps, or something along those lines. That could very well be what we've got going on there. But for now, we're in a decent orientation. We can see we're pushing our apoapsis up, but it's not very high as it is. So our thrust to weight is a little on the low side. I think that we should pull this back. We definitely had an issue with our steering. No doubt about that. And I would like to change where these fins are located. Specifically, I want to put them here. And now I want to put in some side boosters. So that is exactly what we're going to do. This is going to increase the cost of this, and that is understood. We're going to put in something like that. I think this default size is probably fine. Stretching it to be about like this, and then plopping a nose cone right on top like that, and then duplicating these engines and just sticking them in about like so. And then we would have this be 6x symmetry. And then up here, 6x symmetry, and then up here, 6x symmetry. And then somewhere around here. And then somewhere around here. And then ideally, like here. So something kind of like that, right? This is going to significantly increase our costs. It will also significantly increase how far this thing would go. I'm just thinking right now about how much more expensive this is going to be. Ultimately, I don't think it matters. This is a very low reward that we get for this. We just want to do the progression. So I think we just accept the loss here and are just like, you know... As long as it's not a, like, $10 million loss, I don't mind it that much. So this is going to be like a $1.5 million loss around there. So that's not too bad. I do want to check our staging here. So that's all of these goblins. And then the interstages right there. Yeah, that's definitely not when that is supposed to happen. So the interstages would go here. Well, this stage actually needs to be down here. And the side interstages need to be here. Like this. This is the correct staging. Okay, so we're going to save that craft. This is an upgraded version of our, like, small sat heavy lifter. but it's going to be relatively expensive. No doubt about it. So it's actually going to be like a $2.5 million loss based on those launch fees. Okay. That's understood. I'm not terribly happy about it, but, you know, whatever. Okay, off we go here. Really rapid burn-off from these engines, just right away off the pad. So we get a large amount of... Okay, we're definitely trying to tip this way. But we're tipping less. Having some control surfaces down here would probably be very useful for us, but for now, this is okay. So we're going to be ditching these side tanks momentarily. I keep trying to use KSP controls, but this is not KSP. We're going to be losing these side tanks right now. Get out of here, side tanks. No one likes you. And our trajectory is way, way higher off the bat. So I want to bring this over to a 0-degree pitch. Okay, and I want to move this into orbital mode. So 3, 2, 1, and we are out of SRB. So on we go. Much, much better activation altitude here. I like that. And we can see our time to apoapsis is quite far away, with our apoapsis being at 272 kilometers. So we're just going to burn right here for now. Our inclination is going to be a little bit weird because we definitely try to head off this direction as we go up, which is interesting because that's basically north-south. I'm not sure exactly why we're doing that, but I think it probably has to do with something to do with drag and heavier payloads not being counteracted by this gyroscope and having lack of control surfaces. So that is very likely what we've got going on there. Okay, let's accelerate forward. We can see we're 3.7 minutes to the apoapsis right now, and that's going down, which isn't shocking. At this point, we should definitely ditch our fairing. We do not need that extra mass. We should have ditched it a while ago, actually. We should also extend our solar panels, which I will do. There we go, and we can see time to apoapsis is currently 3.3 minutes. I want to burn here until our apoapsis is about 500 kilometers, ideally. And we'll just chill there, is the overall concept. So that seems fine. Our thrust to weight is over 1 at this point, and we're going to have a bit of an inclination to this, but I'm not too concerned about it. So we need to be... Hang on, I want to check our career here. I want to check specifically. Inclination does not matter. Okay. That's what we wanted to know. So that sounds good. This should be more than sufficient to put this into Luna orbit, but again, this is not going to be profitable for us. We're just doing the progression mission. So for now, that's fine. We understand and accept that. So our apoapsis is currently 319 kilometers. We can see our time to apoapsis is 3.1 minutes and holding. So that's definitely interesting. That's going to start going up very shortly. Yeah, 3.2. There we go. That looks good. So again, I want to burn here until our apoapsis is 500. I think that'll be absolutely fine. We're going to Luna. We're not too concerned about having a high apoapsis here. So that thing has a lot of power off the pad, but it doesn't steer very well. No doubt about that. We need to further refine our rocket designs, but we kind of need some tech for all of that, so we'll definitely work on that. Getting more tech points would be good. So we're up to 350 on the apoapsis, and that is going to go up faster and faster as we approach orbital velocity. And yeah, this is a very, very reasonable amount of thrust to weight, I feel like. So the thrust to weight isn't a concern. The main concern as of right now is actually just that initial steering and the cost of the thing. It's definitely a little more expensive, but it's a better design overall. This engine here is still a Gnome engine, so it is still relatively cheap, all things considered. So we're about to hit that 500 kilometer apoapsis marker right about little further. Now, there we go. And at that apoapsis, we are just going to circularize. Okay, so then the question, of course, is, are we going to be able to... Hang on, this way. Are we going to be able to get an encounter at this inclination? Because we're definitely in a bit of an inclination. Luna is... That's Brigo here. We need to be in Luna's SOI. So that's this guy. Okay. Interesting that Brigo's orbit is showing now. We must have discovered something there from doing that contract. Okay, that's neat. Let's go ahead and execute this burn. And that's going to be our circularization burn. So that's going to not be a very big burn. Cool. We just got 100 tech points for exceeding 25 orbits of Drew. I like it. That will be very useful for us. Getting control surfaces might be the way to go. Okay, so here we are in a circularized orbit of Drew. So now the question is, if we were to burn sometime around the apoapsis here, what would this look like? I did see an encounter there, I think. It's not much of an encounter. Let's change our timing on it. That's a bit better. What are we angling for our periapsis here? 189 kilometers. Okay, so that is certainly noted. So let's move this around over this way somewhat. It looks like this is not going to be ideal. Okay, so what's the apoapsis target? 400 and some? 498. Okay. Well, that is certainly noted. So the main issue here is inclination. So instead of doing this, let's just do an inclination change here. We're currently at an inclination of 5.96, and our target is at an inclination of 1.72. So I want to plan a burn at the ascending or descending node. Probably the ascending node, looks like. No, descending node. Okay, yep, out over here. And I want this to go to 1.72 then. So we need to go this direction, in theory. And the burn would be about like that. That should put us, in theory, in plane with Luna. Which it looks to be. If I'm reading this correctly, that should be how that works. Okay, so we're going to warp around to here, and we're going to get that inclination change done. 222 meters per second, not too bad. So that sounds good. The inclination change will make it much easier for us to get a reasonable encounter here. We knew that we were going to be in a weird inclination, so that's understood. Okay, so there we are, and now, sometime around here or so, we can push this out and have an encounter be up over here. That is much better on the encounter, for sure. Okay, little bit awkward in the directionality here. Noted. Let's just try changing that timing ever so slightly. Okay, so I see somewhere around here as the closest approach. Cool. This'll do. We can dial in that approach a little bit closer, but that is probably close enough. Let's go ahead and execute that burn. That'll be 1.14 kilometers per second. How much do we have right now? 3 kilometers per second, almost. So we have way more than we need for this. That's good. We're not at all surprised by that one. And we're just going to speed through this a bit. And just push our orbit right on out. So that looks phenomenal. We're currently about 70% of the way through this. I'm going to drop us out of the warp here. There we go. And 3, 2, 1, and nice. So that's apparently 639 kilometers as the closest approach. That's fine. Let's warp up over this direction and get our way into this encounter. Cool. So the encounter will happen shortly here. There we go. We are now in the sphere of influence of Luna. So now we need to get our periapsis down, right? So plan a burn at the current periapsis. That'll be a retrograde burn. We don't really care about our inclination. That's irrelevant to us. So we are just going to bring this guy right on down to a periapsis of 189. Like that. So that'll be fine. That is going to be 379 meters per second. Go ahead and do it. Beautiful. So we're going to commence this burn right now. That should be a nice and simple burn. And technically this will qualify, but I'm going to get us a little closer. 498 plus or minus 350 is very generous. So technically this counts. But at the periapsis, I'm going to drop this down to 498. Excellent. It's 496. Let's turn down the sensitivity a wee bit. And there we go. So we'll execute that burn. That'll be 19.5 additional meters per second. And let's commence that burn. That'll be a very, very minute burn. But there we go. 498 by 189. So now all we need to do is detach the Explorer probe. Goodbye, Explorer probe. Fantastic. And that's that mission completed. We make very little money off of that, but that was understood. So, yeah, we're quite negative on that one, but that's fine. That's more of an R&D launch than anything else, so that seems okay. Max Q is at 9.68 kilometers. Interesting. Well, we'll recover that craft. That is, of course, going to be a destruction of the craft. There aren't any astronauts on board, so we don't need that craft anymore. It's out of there. So next up, I'd like to go into our tech tree and take a look at getting control surfaces. Well, that would be this. Okay. So we can take this right now. That'll also unlock new contracts, apparently. So that's understood. And I don't think I want to spend the rest of those tech points just yet. We don't really know what we need yet. So the next progression mission would be a Silero flyby. I have no idea where Silero is. I also have no idea how hard, or rather how far we would need to go in terms of DV. We also have this Explorer mission to Brigo, which is still a progression mission. So this would be another one that's very similar to the one we just did. We would not make a profit off of it, but we could just put that Explorer probe in orbit of Brigo. And that would be a fairly simple thing to do. This is, again, very, very similar to what we did, and that rocket can do this. No problem. While we're at it, is there anything else that we can do here? Well, there's this Drew orbit. 18.6 megameters, huh? With an inclination of 0. Okay. There's also this Drew orbit rescue. And this we might be able to make a profit on. Maybe. So I definitely do want to do this Silero flyby. I feel like we don't have the DV to do it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this Brigo mission. This is marked as a progression mission, so I want to get that done. We're going to launch this craft again. And yes, it's going to be expensive. We're not going to make a profit on this. That is understood. And I want to check in the map here. Okay. So this is Volco. This is Sergia. This is Silero. This is Handrew's Comet. And this is Titos. What are you? Urados. Okay. So essentially what we've got here is Silero is the Duna equivalent. Noted. It's got a couple of moons as well. So this is definitely, yeah, this is definitely the Duna/Mars equivalent. So in that case, without a payload, we might actually have the ability to get there with this rocket design. Just thinking about how much DV we have, we might be able to without a payload. For now, of course, we want to be in Brigo's sphere of influence. So let's go ahead and get out of here. We're going to head over to 45-degree pitch. And I'm going to 2x us through this booster stage. There we go. We're just going to burn through this nice and quickly. I think that this vehicle probably could do a flyby of Silea. That should be fine. In theory, anyway. Okay. We should have ditched those boosters a while ago, I think, but it's okay. Cool. Now I want to put us at a pitch of... apparently 1 degree is the closest we're going to get. That seems fine. Yeah, this isn't that much different on that apoapsis, so... seems okay. Yeah, we can't apparently pitch to 0 degrees. We should ditch the fairing, for sure. There we go. And I think if we don't have this payload, this thing goes quite far, right? Let's see how much DV we have after we reach our orbit here. But if I recall correctly, it's pretty good. So that'll be relatively fine. Time to apoapsis is a fair amount lower, so I definitely didn't split off the SRBs as early as I should have. But I think we'll be fine here. I want to be in orbital mode. There we go. And that apoapsis is going to lift right on up. So technically it's a little easier to get to Brigo than it is to get to Luna, which is fine. But yeah, a flyby of the Mars analog is probably in reach here. Probably in reach. We'll see. Especially if I don't detach those boosters late. That didn't help. No doubt about that. So for now, we're just going to continue to burn here. We see that time to apoapsis dropping. Our orbital velocity is a lot lower than it was, and that is just because I didn't detach those boosters. We carried a lot of extra weight that we didn't need to carry. So we could revert this back, but I don't think we need to. We can see that time to apoapsis is still coming down. Apoapsis is currently 282, but we are building up that orbital velocity quite extensively. I would like to extend our solar panels now that the sun is coming up. Still 20 seconds to apoapsis here. That's still coming down a lot. So we're not going all that fast right now. We should actually end up pitching up here, which I don't like doing, but we're just going to have to get ourselves some lateral velocity and then bring it back down. Okay, there, we can see time to apoapsis is going up. We were very, very close, and this will be fine. Our orbital velocity is almost achieved. I want to bring us out of 2x speed now. That is 400 kilometers, and sure, 515 will do. So now what we want to do is we want to come back over here, of course. And we want to be targeting Brigo. So we're going to set this as our target. Our inclination is probably not going to be off that much. Let's just see what it would look like if we plan to burn around here. Prograde burn, it's going to be a little early. We're going to want to move that over here. So somewhere around this direction, that gets us a collision, which we don't necessarily want. That is 48. What do we want this to be? 498 by 173? Okay, noted. I'm going to go for 494 here. That's within 4 kilometers. We're going to call that close enough. And let's just head around and let's get out of here. Excellent. We don't really care about the inclination or it being prograde or retrograde. We just need to get it into an orbit here, and this'll do. So let's push our way through this burn a little bit faster. 30 seconds left on the burn. Now 20. Now 10 seconds left on the burn. We'll exit from normal speed now. Okay, there we go. And we're going to warp on up to here. Cool. And I want to do a planned burn at this periapsis, but it's going to be a little awkward. Let's just wait till we're in the SOI. So we're going to warp on up and make our way through here. There we go. Now we're in the sphere of influence. And at this periapsis, we want to retrograde burn until we are within 173 kilometers is our target. Okay, we're going to get close enough here. This is apparently 475, so our projection was a little bit off, but it's close enough. So 173, huh? I'm not going to want to get this, like, absolutely perfect. I don't care that much about the apoapsis. Let's just get this in position, execute this burn, and get this mission completed. So this is going to be 900 meters per second, and I'm assuming we have that much left. We do. We burned a lot of extra Delta V on carrying those side boosters, so this is not representative of what our SRB potential is. I'll put it that way. So that'll be absolutely fine. Let's get ourselves into the proper orbit. This is close enough, and let's detach the Explorer probe. Cool. So there's that mission completed, and we will destroy that craft. Next up, I am going to accept the Silero flyby. There's also this Luna impactor. Under 100 meters per second. Okay. Can no longer be accepted after 30 days. So it's going to take a long time to get to Silero. This one's going to expire, but the progression missions are the ones we care about. So I think the Luna impactor is the one we have to do first. So we need to impact under 100 meters per second, but that is a mission for next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Xenocyte, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.